Two trending hashtags this morning. Hashtag CNN is trash and hashtag never Warren. The Democrats are going to war against each other. It's primary season, so we can expect this. But Bernie Sanders fans are not happy with Elizabeth Warren's lying, and they are not happy with CNN's bias. But you know what? We all knew it was coming. Bernie Sanders is doing too well in early polls. He's in the lead now in many states, Iowa, I think New Hampshire, and the establishment is going to do everything in their power to knock him down. So I got a couple things for you today. First, the Democratic debate last night was an unmitigated disaster. Not because something profound happened. There were these really messed up moments between Bernie and Warren, sure, but for the most part, it was just beyond boring. I'm going to be honest. I got ready, I got my popcorn, figuratively. I'm sitting down, I turned the debate on the TV, and then I fell asleep. I fell asleep in like 10 minutes because it was just the same mindless nonsense. We're learning nothing new, nothing's happening. Even Van Jones came out and said, this was boring. There was nothing here. He said what do we got here? Here's the quote. There was nothing I saw tonight that would be able to take Donald Trump out. And I completely agree. I'm sorry, man. You know, if there's one person I think could actually... No, I take it back. I would have said in the past, I was going to say I think Bernie Sanders maybe, but not at this point. Not with the Veritas leaks, not with the Me Too smears against Bernie. So here's what I want to do. I got to walk you through this. There's a lot to go through. First, we have the hashtag CNN is trash. This is because Bernie supporters feel that the whole thing was rigged against him. And it I got to be honest, it really was. Right here, we see this bit between Bernie and Warren. They said to Bernie, we want to make it clear. You did not say to Elizabeth Warren a woman could not win the presidency. And Bernie says that is correct. And then they go, okay, Elizabeth Warren, how did you feel when Bernie told you a woman couldn't win? And she goes, I disagreed. And people are laughing. And Bernie's like, and he looks down. He just said it didn't happen. They could have framed the question much, much better. But they launched it under the implication that Bernie lied. Check out this. I got this photo of you. A photo for you, not of you. I don't know who you are. Anyway, the point is, here's the Chiron. Warren supports a new trade deal with Mexico and Canada. Why is Sanders' opposition to it wrong? Sanders' proposal would double federal spending. How will he avoid bankrupting the country? Does Sanders owe voters an explanation of how much his healthcare plan will cost them? Okay, the point here is that Bernie is not the only person advocating Medicare for all, but he's the only one being dragged for it. Now, I certainly think it's fair to question Bernie's policy ideas and things like that, but the way they set it up was to prop up Warren, and I will tell you why. Elizabeth Warren is Hillary Clinton wearing a Bernie Sanders mask, and the mask is slipping. They need to knock Bernie down, so what do? Me Too. Bernie told a woman she couldn't win the presidency. Okay, it's not really a Me Too moment, but it's basically they're weaponizing sexism against Bernie like they did in 2016. They said, his staffers, were harassing women. Well, I'll tell you this, man. Bernie, to a certain extent, is reaping what he has sown. Now, I think it's fair to say Bernie is not the worst of the intersectional feminists. We've certainly seen purple-haired, shaved head, morbidly obese, screeching women pounding on walls, like the most extreme case of extreme. Bernie is not there. But Bernie has still played to these politics and tried to court this ideology, and now it is being weaponized against him. So, to an extent, Bernie is reaping a bit of what he has sown. He is an old white male. Did you think you were going to travel through this unscathed, Bernie? But because of Elizabeth Warren's duplicitousness, her deceit and her lies, the number two trend in the United States right now is never Warren. I agree. Warren is trash. She is awful. She is scum. Let me show you why. Not just the lies. Elizabeth Warren rejects a handshake from Bernie Sanders after CNN debate. How disgusting, man. Look, you can argue, you can debate. Welcome to politics. Some people have said, I've been seeing people say that even Trump shook Hillary Clinton's hand. I don't know if that's true. I pulled up the final debate. I don't believe they did shake hands, but a lot of people said, no, he did at some point. Well, I'm not going to compare every moment to every moment because I'm just going to leave it here. Whether or not he did or he didn't, Elizabeth Warren, when Bernie reaches his hand out to shake her hand, she snubs him. For those that are watching, I can show you this moment. Bernie's hand is out for a handshake, and what does she do? She pulls her hand away, refusing to shake it. They argue a little bit. Bernie puts his hands up and then walks away. So they're certainly arguing about what did or didn't happen. But I'll tell you this. Warren is lying. Warren is lying. Warren is lying. You know why? Because Warren is a liar. Elizabeth Warren claimed for how long that she was a Native American, put it on her little business card, that bar card. Gets named the first Native American woman. She's trying to improve her chances using minority status. Liar. She took a DNA test that, blew up in her face. That was insane. But she also lied about her pregnancy and work, where her kids went to school. It is her MO. She is Hillary Clinton wearing a Bernie mask. Now, Bernie has his faults. I disagree with Bernie in a lot of policy positions. I think Bernie pandered too much. And you know what? Some of this is his fault. It's just the way it is. The establishment was always going to come for him. But Warren is a snake. And right now, everyone is responding to Elizabeth Warren's tweets with snake emojis. Not only did she snub him on a handshake, that was dirty. Come on, dude. Who in their right mind would think Bernie would tell a woman, I don't think a woman could win the presidency? Bernie, again, is not the wokest of woke feminists, but Bernie is still holding this weird far left ideology where he's going to be like, a woman could absolutely win. In what world does intersectionalist Bernie think a woman would never win? Now, I'll be fair. There is the argument that we've seen the woke left say they think America is too sexist to win. And so some people have posted the meme saying, even if Bernie really did say it, it's hypocritical of the left to claim America is sexist and patriarchal. And then if Bernie said that to Warren, they're going to smear him for it, even though Warren says it, right? The argument is that Bernie actually told Warren that not that a woman shouldn't be able to win or shouldn't run, but that he doesn't think America would actually accept a woman. I still don't believe that's true. I really just don't believe it. Tulsi Gabbard says Bernie was supportive. Bernie encouraged Warren to run. They were friends for a long time. Warren put a knife in his back because she is scum. Sorry. Look, Bernie's got his faults. Bernie's got kooky policy ideas. I think so in a lot of ways. Some of them I'm actually okay with. I agree with Bernie. There's like this test Washington Post has where it's like 20 questions. And I got 13 out of 20 for Yang, and that was my number one. So go figure, I do like Yang. And Bernie, I agree with him on like 7 positions. I think anybody who thinks you wouldn't agree on some things is nuts, right? Obviously, most conservatives are gonna agree with Democrats on some things. So me and Bernie, we agree on some things, we do. So, but that being said, I do think Bernie has been more honest than many politicians. Like at the other debate when he straight up said, no, we're going to raise your taxes. It's a fact. And we're going to do it to try and bring down costs. I understand that. I still don't think you'll be able to pull it off. Bernie was talking about a transitional fund for healthcare workers who would lose their jobs due to Medicare for All. I don't think it'll work. I think the estimate's going to be like over 5 years, something like $700 billion, some ridiculous number. So I get it when you're talking about a $1 trillion a year program, tacking another $1 trillion over 5 years. Yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense. But anyway, the point is, the way they're doing him dirty. Look, I can disagree with Bernie, okay? I can think that he's got bad ideas or that I don't think he's going to be president or his health is a concern. And I think even if you're a staunch Bernie supporter, you have to understand and respect why I feel the way I do. But I think we can all agree with how Jack Posobiec put it, Trump supporters and Bernie supporters linking hands because CNN is trash. Now, I want to mention this real quick. The day before the Democratic debate, Bill O'Reilly said the fix is still in against Bernie Sanders. Of all people, Bill O'Reilly on his show saying they fixed it in 2016, they're fixing it again. And I want to get to Van Jones and the disaster of the Democratic debates, but I got to show you this. This, to me, was the slimiest scum from CNN I've seen in a long time. Chris Cillizza doubles down on Bernie Sanders' criticism. Elizabeth Warren is on the record saying this happened. He complains that when Bernie Sanders was asked, he was too dismissive in saying, I never said it. And the co-host, this was this morning, Allison Cameron or whatever, they were like, what is he supposed to say? And he goes, well, I don't know. Maybe he should have said that he respects Warren, but he was too dismissive. What are you talking about? If the media was lying about what I had been saying, I would say, I didn't say that. And then you're going to drag me for telling the truth? CNN is complete trash. We know they rigged it against Bernie in 2016. Of course they're doing it again. And you know what? If we saw people like the Young Turks and other progressives who supported Bernie coming out sooner and agreeing with moderates and conservatives on why the media is trash, maybe you could have called this out beforehand and done something about it. But I'll tell you this, when the media pushed around that fake story about YouTube and the rabbit hole and all that, these Bernie progressives, not all of them, but many, they loved it. They loved it. Oh, the far right. Oh, you know what? You had every opportunity, okay, to disagree with Trump on everything he's doing, but agree with him when he trashes the press. And some of you did. Many Bernie supporters absolutely have trashed the press. I can respect that. But so many, like the Young Turks, did nothing, said nothing, ragged on Trump for targeting the press, saying he's a bad man. And then what happens when Cenk runs for office? Now they're smearing him, and he's all surprised. Why would the New York Times lie about me? Oh, heavens. Oh, woe is me. Yeah, man, listen. You're not going to like Trump, but you certainly can't be in a position where everything he does is wrong. Okay? I have no problem saying, I just said there's like seven out of 20 positions I agree with Bernie Sanders on. I defended Bernie Sanders for being more honest than most politicians. I have no problem giving credit. Not everything someone does is bad. Can we be sane for a minute? Trump does things that I think are I don't like, and I laugh at some of these things because of how absurd they are. When he cusses and swears and mocks people, when he said that dude who recently died was possibly looking up, implying he was in hell, I was like, oh no, dude. Wow. I understand why people think it's funny, okay, but it is a level of crassness. I have no problem saying, here's what I don't like about Trump. The economy is good. I love what he did with North Korea. You don't understand my perspective on this coming from my family. Seriously, the North Korea thing was like profound. Let me just stress this point. When Trump crossed the DMZ with Kim Jong-un and everyone rolls their eyes saying he's giving them what they want, blah, blah, blah. Dude, stop. Donald Trump crossed into North Korea. They could have snatched him. They could have dragged him away. They didn't. He walked in, shook hands, and walked back. He was completely vulnerable. It was an amazing sign of an olive branch, of moving forward. He deserves respect and credit for that. And I'll look to Bernie Sanders and say, here's what I don't like. Now, I'll tell you this. Elizabeth Warren has called out Facebook and Google. She absolutely deserves respect for that. If she does the right thing, I will say it's the right thing. I have no problem doing that. But Warren is a duplicitous, lying snake, so I don't trust her when she does. When Bernie Sanders comes out and says, I want free college, I believe him that he does. When he says, I want free college because America, should have a chance for a good job and education, I believe him when he says it. I really do. I just think he's got bad ideas. I used to be a big fan because I thought he was honest. I still think he's more honest than most, but I think he's played the game too much. He's pandered too much, and he's been dishonest following this. So now, anyway, the point was with Mediaite. If somebody lies about you and you just say that didn't happen, and then CNN drags you for it, I think it's fair to say CNN is trash, straight up. But check this out. Even CNN was unimpressed with the way their debate turned out. This was one of the worst Democratic debates ever in the history of America. I know I'm biased because I'm only alive today, but I gotta say, man, in terms of Democratic debates, this one was awful. Let's read a little bit of this story from Newsbusters. They talk about Van Jones, and they say, while CNN's panel of partisan analysts and journalists had their thoughts on which Democratic candidates did well in their debate, co-host Chris Cuomo stated it best when he deducted that the consensus, though, is that this was not the type of night of ambition we expected. One analyst was so distraught he declared he was dispirited, not what the Democratic National Committee wanted to hear going into the Iowa caucuses. The first to register his displeasure with the debate was former Obama advisor David Axelrod. He thought Warren and Joe Biden had their toutable moments, but seemed disappointed there were no fiery moments that stood out. Quote, there were some confrontations, but for whatever reason, it may be that people are uneasy in a race where people are well-liked generally to take on folks that might drive second choices away, drive the undecided away. Former Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe was surprised and shocked by the lack of aggression from the candidates. He said, this is the last shot you've got until the Iowa caucus in 3 weeks. The four frontrunners, nobody went after each other. I was really surprised at that. Joe Biden has been leading the race since he got into it. Nobody touched him tonight. Nobody went after him. It was just shocking to me that this is your last shot to make an impression before you go in. Most of the panel agreed with him when he noted the debate didn't change the dynamic of the race in any way, including chief political analyst Gloria Borger and liberal activist CNN Weekend host Van Jones. No, let me point out Kyle Kulinski. I don't know if I showed this one already, but Kyle Kulinski said, genuinely thought that if Bernie won, he'd pick Warren as his VP. Now I don't. Yeah, that seriously changed the dynamic, man. When she snubbed him, they're done. She's ponying up for Biden, I bet. And I'm willing to bet Biden gets the nomination and he picks Warren as his VP. How much you want to bet? I'm not saying I think it's a great chance. I'm just saying that seems very likely. We have this quote here from, I think, who is this? Cuomo. All right, of course. We're listening to you all here, Anderson. It's so interesting to get all of these different perspectives on what happened. I think the consensus, though, is that this was not the type of night of ambition we expected. And then we have Cuomo, I guess, going on again. Oh, that's a data bash. Was it fiery? Could you feel the crackling in here? No. I don't think anything really changed tonight in this race. And I agree that caution was the most active participant on the stage. Do you think caution will beat Donald Trump? Do you think playing it safe and being calm and passive? No way, dude. Trump called Hillary Clinton a nasty woman in the final debate. He interrupted her, and he would lean in the mic while she was talking and go, wrong, no, wrong. You think you're gonna go up against that? You have no idea. What I saw from this was dispirited. I fell asleep. I gotta be honest, I fell asleep. I fell asleep at right 10 minutes into it. I woke up during the reruns, and I'm like, whoa. I zonked out on that one, and I pulled up Twitter, and I'm like, well, there it is. That's how boring it was. I wonder if this had the worst ratings yet. I'd be willing to bet it has the worst ratings yet. Plus, no Yang, no Tulsi, no Booker. It was so dry. They really needed Yang in there, man. Even Van Jones mentioned that he was missing, Yang and Booker. I say this: the most distraught was Van Jones. As a progressive, to see those two have that level of vitriol was very dispiriting. He bemoaned when speaking of the feud between Warren and Sanders. His emotions appeared to run high, as he worried that Democratic division could lead to Trump's reelection. Yup. So I'll tell you what, man, I've been sitting here as a lifelong lefty, Democrat, liberal, whatever you want to call it. I was very far left when I was younger, and I slowly, became more moderate. And I've been complaining that they rigged the system in favor of, you've either got the crony corporate faux moderates, and then you have the far left. The far left are being propped up by the activists, and regular, rational liberals can't compete with that. So then, because liberals are passive and aren't active, and that's their own fault, I guess, we get Biden. We get Klobuchar. We get Buttigieg. Great. Where's a sane, moderate, just centrist individual? Someone who can recognize the economy is doing really, really well under Trump. Trump deserves credit for a lot of things. But we should have someone who is going to be more stern on bringing our troops home, someone who is going to be less bombastic. There's a lot of things I would prefer to see, but we don't get any of that. We get either faux corporate centrism or far left psychosis. And so here I am. The Democrats are fighting, and I'm proof. They really want me to appear as conservative or right wing because they don't want to admit the Democrats are falling apart. That's the fact. I voted for Obama in 2008. I didn't vote again. And I didn't vote in 2016. Will I vote in 2020? Probably not. Maybe Yang. Maybe I'll vote for Yang in the primary, but they're not going to give him the nomination. And I'm not playing games. I don't vote unless I want the person to win. I don't vote against someone. That's how I roll. And I'll tell you this. A lot of Yang supporters have straight up said on Reddit, Yang or bust. A lot of Bernie supporters are still saying Bernie or bust. In fact, they're saying #never Warren. Never Warren. This is real time. It's trending. Number 2 on Twitter, never Warren. They're saying Trump over Warren. I kid you not. What else do we got here? I'm not going to read. Look. Okay, I can't show that stuff. Hopefully YouTube doesn't get mad at me. The point is, a lot of people are willing to vote for Trump if Warren gets the nomination. Here's never Warren, never the snakes who elevated Trump to begin with, Bernie or bust. Yeah, this guy's not going to vote for Trump. But he's not going to vote unless it's Bernie. So what do you think's going to happen? I'll tell you this. The Democrats are at war, period. The Democratic debate was pathetic. The B roster standing up with no real strength behind anything they were saying, no fire and no aggression. And now we're supposed to try and see who's going to go up against Trump. Could you imagine what's going to happen if Biden goes up against Trump? Stuttering, yammering, confused, teeth falling out. Trump will look like a giant dwarfing Joe Biden as Joe Biden struggles to speak. And Trump's going to be like, I don't even know what he's saying. What does her mum from mean? But Biden just mumbled her mum from. What does that mean? And he's going to drag him. Biden's teeth will slip. Now listen, Trump has had his gaffes. Trump, recently mispronounced words at some event. I'm not saying Trump's perfect. I'm saying Trump is aggressive. Trump is aggressive, and he is going to poke and prod at every single thing. Now, I do think Bernie has a bit of that fire in him where he could push back a bit on Trump. After seeing this, though, I'm reminded of that moment when Bernie was giving a speech and the activists took the mic from him and he just backed away and got all sad. Yeah, nah, he doesn't have it. And this is bad news for all Democrats. They don't want to accept it. I don't care. I'm willing to talk to whoever's going to listen. And I'll tell you this, the Democrats don't care. They don't care. They would rather say like, Tim Pool is a liar. He's just trying to pander to the right by smearing Democrats. Or I'm a disaffected liberal like many other disaffected liberals. And that's it. That I'm looking at a field of corporate nonsense, corporate faux centrism versus far left psychosis, sitting here being like, what do I get? When do I get to choose somebody? A sane, rational, moderate candidate. They don't exist. Like, look, you could theoretically argue like Klobuchar or Buttigieg, but Buttigieg is pro-Middle Eastern interventionism. I'm not going to support that. Where is the populist moderate? We have the populist right in Trump. We have the populist far left. Whereas a regular old populist liberal is going to be like, yeah, the economy's pretty good, but, I think we need more environmental regulations, and Trump's been pulling back on those, and here's what we need to implement. It doesn't exist. There's nobody. You get socialism or you get nothing. I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. You get the point. The debate, unmitigated disaster. Seriously, don't take my word for it. Van Jones. CNN's own panel saying, oof, this was bad. It was bad. Trump's going to win. He's going to win re-election. Impeachment is nonsense. Whatever. I'll see you all in the next segment coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out.